News First Edition starts now.
Just that last 30 seconds. So when we were on break, lots of new information coming in. Live look, 6:29 Thursday morning. You see I-90 crawling there. 195, a mess, a big problem as it is closed. 195 is from Rosalia to Spangle. Some people don't know about that, so we're seeing this line of traffic just starting to back up there on 195, and there's no estimate on when they're going to reopen. So among the things we're following for you on KREM 2 News First Edition on this big snow Thursday morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sten Wallstrom.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Laura Papetti. We are talking about some major school closures today as well. If we could take a look at that list. Again, these are just a few major school closures. We do want to mention, probably not even on the list quite yet, Spokane Falls Community College and Spokane Community College both closed today. We just received that in, along with what are we hearing about Gonzaga?
Gonzaga University is closed today, so that's another one just coming in, and just too numerous to read through all of them, but we do have each and every one, as you see there, scrolling in alphabetical order at the top of your screen. Eastern Washington University right there, including the River Point campus closed, so those will continue to come by. You want to see them all in one place at one time, krem.com. You can do that. To help us cover what really is a major storm out there, we have extra crews in this morning, and appreciate their help. Over in North Idaho, Don Crawley. Lower left, Tova Tupper has been moving around today. Radar above Tova showing us what we're looking at, and the person who knows all about the radar, Grace Pena. Let's send it over to you.
Good morning. Well, look for things to really begin to taper off by late to mid-morning. I want to show you Doppler radar, the satellite and radar picture quickly so you can see. In this last 6 hours, the Spokane airport has picked up 7 inches in 6 hours. If that gives you any idea of how intense this storm has been, that gives us a total as of 4 o'clock this morning of about 11 inches out at the airport. That has been new just this morning. Your winds are going to cause a definite problem, especially if you live in North Idaho, down into Coeur d'Alene, and then west into Spokane. We have a blizzard warning for this area until 12 o'clock. Right now, 13-mile-per-hour winds in Spokane are making it feel like 4 below zero. Down into where Don Crawley's at, you're still looking at sustained winds of 23 miles an hour, but they're gusting about 30 miles per hour. Here's how your day is going to pan out. That blizzard warning for Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, and the valleys north going to last until 12 o'clock. Look out for blowing snow and windy conditions coming from the northeast, 15 to 25 miles per hour. Late today, we're looking at a very cold conditions and a daytime high of 16 degrees. And I just want to let folks know that go to Interface College. The morning classes are canceled. However, your afternoon classes still going to be up and running for today. So that, along with SCC and SFCC, I've had many people asking about that. Yes. Both of those colleges are closed. Those are major universities or colleges that these people go to. So, of course, krem.com has all of that info for you. We
have a big crew. You can't see them in our newsroom, entering all of those into these scrolls. Yes. So it's up to date. Basically, just as soon as we hear about these, you can check those out. The big problem this morning is on, well, all the roads are difficult, especially 195, though, because it is closed, and Marissa Bagg showed us a picture of that. That looked like a mess. Now let's see if we can get some visuals with her on Skype. Good morning, Marissa.
Good morning, Sten. Yeah, we just set up our Skype, and some new information we just received. They were able to pull that semi out of the ditch that was causing some of the problem here, so it looks like they'll be towing that out here in just a few minutes. But you can see just how many people are actually in this line right now. If we look southbound, you can see it's a couple dozen cars, including some semis. All of these people have been here for at least 45 minutes, but they were here before us, so possibly even longer. You can see down there is a plow truck that's trying to obviously move some snow off the road right now. I'm not sure if you can hear all the wind, but I'm sure you can see some of that blowing snow now. And if we try to take a look northbound, you can see just how many more cars are over here. A lot of semis again. We've even seen some people try to just reverse and get out of here because we've been waiting so long. But again, if we take a look at the road, you can see just how quickly all that snow is moving because of the wind here. So it looks like officially DOT will be closing down this road as far as putting up signs just to let people know to stay off. Their main concern was getting rid of the semi so that the people that are still here can continue to move. But again, anybody who's heading this way, just try to stay off the road because, again, between Spangle and Rosalia, 195 is closed, and just from seeing what we're showing you right now, you can see why. Sten?
The first rape in 2004 ended in a conviction for the rapist, and the hospital paid out more than $2 million to the victim. The most recent case we uncovered concerns a similar vulnerable female patient, and the family says the hospital could have prevented it.
Well, she is definitely a child at heart.
Amity and Emmett Marks love their little girl.
It's just a very loving picture with a Valentine and a sweet message.
Their daughter drew this picture 2 years ago. You might think it was done by a 6-year-old, but she was actually in her late 20s.
I love you very much.
To protect her identity, we'll call her Laura. She's now 29. Laura suffers from developmental disabilities and has the mentality of a child. Laura is also a patient at Eastern State Hospital in Medical Lake. Her parents say that's where she lost her childlike innocence 3 years ago when she was raped by another patient.
Having the disabilities that she has is just a much more significant problem to recover than it would be for somebody else, I think, who wouldn't have the disabilities.
She has been very much damaged by this rape, being such a child, such a emotional level of a child.
The rape happened inside Laura's room on January 9, 2008. Court documents show another patient, Jesse Vasquez, showed up in Laura's doorway. She told him no and to go away, but he refused and raped her. Later, he pled guilty as part of a plea bargain with the state. Now, the Marks family is suing the Department of Social and Health Services. Attorney David Moody says the rape could have been prevented because the hospital knew all about Vasquez's violent history.
He assaulted a staff member, he exposed his genitals, he had sexual contact with 2 patients. I mean, this guy seemed very dangerous.
His rap sheet is as long as your arm. He has pled guilty to multiple crimes throughout his history. Eastern State knew all his record coming in.
In court documents, DSHS claims it did not know Vasquez was a felon and that he did not engage in overly aggressive sexual behavior or pose a danger to female patients. But Moody says doctors ignored the warning signs and allowed Vasquez Class A privileges to roam free on hospital grounds.
She needed protection. She needed to be kept safe. Eastern State Hospital failed to do so in a big way.
The state denies Vasquez roamed free. DSHS states in court documents that Vasquez was restricted to the men's ward because he had consensual sex with Laura a few weeks prior to the rape, not because of Vasquez's aggressive, volatile behavior. Moody admits there was a prior sexual relationship between Laura and Vasquez, but he says it was not consensual.
A word of caution.
Laura's rape is not the first at Eastern State Hospital. In 2004, a suicidal patient was raped in a laundry room by a male nurse.
The laundry room is about right here.
Guylan Johnston was sentenced to nearly 10 years in prison. Moody also represented that victim. He says the hospital also knew Johnston was a danger to patients and allowed him to continue working. The victim won a nearly $3 million claim against Eastern State. It's the largest abuse settlement ever paid out by the hospital.
How does something like this keep happening?
I have no idea how the state will defend what happened in this case.
DSHS could not comment directly to me about the current claim filed by the Marks family, but they did give me a statement which reads in part, wards are not lockdown facilities. Patients in psychiatric hospital wards are not inmates and they do not reside in locked cells. While we do our best to limit inappropriate sexual contact or physical assaults between patients, there is no way we can absolutely prevent sexual contact among them.
What would you like to see for your client?
I'd like to see DSHS look into the camera and tell the public that this is going to stop at Eastern State Hospital. To have one institution in our state that continues to fall short, where rapes continue to happen, is an atrocity.
No matter what happens in the case, Emmett and Amity say the rape had lasting effects on their daughter. Laura is still living at Eastern State, but now has nightmares and struggles with memories of what happened.
In a lot of ways, she can be strong, and she can...
Today, they hope to move forward as a family and look toward a future filled with healing.
Well, but I think that with significant help over a fairly long period of time, that she can lead a reasonably normal life.
Mediation between the victim's family and DSHS was scheduled for tomorrow, but's been postponed until December. Now, our investigation is not over. We'll keep pressing DSHS for answers as we learn more about what's happened at the hospital. Reporting in the studio, Ashley Korsland, KREM 2 News.
A Spokane woman is about to try something no woman has done before. Dr. Lisa Bliss is a sports and spine specialist and a fierce ultra-marathon runner. The 43-year-old has led the medical team and competed in the Badwater Ultra Marathon. That's known as the toughest race in the world. It's across Death Valley. In 2007, she won that 135-mile race. And on Monday, she'll start crossing Death Valley again. This time, it will be more difficult than ever before. Death Valley, California, a sweltering bowl where temperatures spike upwards of 130 degrees. To the west, Mount Whitney, still covered in snow. It's the highest point in the contiguous 48 states. In Spokane, Dr. Lisa Bliss prepares to take a treacherous 146-mile journey between the two. She'll do it in a way no woman and just one man has ever done before.
What I'm doing is solo, unsupported, but also self-contained. So it's completely unaided, so that means I can accept no help at any time.
While her boyfriend and a friend will follow nearby in a car, they cannot give Lisa anything, including water, food, or shelter. She must pull, push, and prod absolutely everything she needs, or might need, using this custom-made cart. Oh, and it's heavy. Lisa weighs a scant 95 pounds. With all her food, water, and mountain gear, her cart will weigh around 240.
That's why I have to lean so far forward to even just keep it from rolling backwards. But every little change in grade, even if it's just a 0.5%, it makes a huge difference.
She'll coerce her cart all the way from Badwater Basin over 3 mountain passes to the freezing summit of Mount Whitney. The 146-mile journey should take 3 to 4 days.
As I was told that it was impossible for a woman to do it.
She'll sleep when she must, but it mustn't be on the ground.
That's where I draw the line, because there's scorpions and there's tarantulas and there's rattlesnakes and bugs. I'm not all about that. I'll sleep on top of the cart.
The heat will be even more oppressive than the bugs, likely around 120 degrees.
The air is hot, and so it gets in your lungs and in your nose, and it dries you out from the inside.
The grueling journey requires unconventional training. She runs up to 85 miles in a week and pulls her cart 5 hours a day on weekends. Under the red glare of the heat lamp, she walks uphill on a treadmill rigged to simulate the pull of that cumbersome cart. Here, she pulls motivation from videos of extreme athletes and worries she might pull these cords from the wall.
Yes, all the time. Yeah, it's going to hit me in the back of the head, or I'm going to slip and I'll go through the wall.
To acclimate her body further, she springs into a 140-degree sauna for a stifling jog.
It's a good thing I'm short.
Each workout and each arduous step through the dusty landscape is dedicated to a group whose burden is great. Lisa's record attempt is also an attempt to raise $10,000 for the Crosswalk Teen Shelter. But perhaps just as important as the money is her message.
There's no failure in trying.
What Lisa is trying to do requires the kind of physical strength some say a woman can't possibly have.
And I know for certain there are going to be times when I'm really going to be mad at myself for coming up with this idea, because it's going to be really hard. Who's that crazy lady?
As she slowly ribbons her way through the mountains and valleys, she'll focus on the teens and the belief that success can come to them and to her by tapping an unwavering will.
It's okay to try it, and my goal is to finish it. I think that I will feel very satisfied. I will probably cry.
Well, Lisa starts her crossing early Monday morning. We'll follow her journey on KREM.com. Cell reception along the route is spotty, but Lisa's boyfriend, Tim England, will work to send us updates when possible. Lisa's cart is also equipped with a GPS tracking device, so you can follow along with our link on KREM.com, as well as a link to donate to Crosswalk. Good luck to her. Randy. A fast-flowing creek left a Kellogg man trapped earlier this week. KREM 2 News told you about Jim Newell yesterday. A creek washed out his driveway, leaving him cut off from the main road. But a little ingenuity helped Newell conquer that problem. KREM 2's Othello Richards was there the moment it happened. He's live to show how the homeowner bridged that gap. Othello?
Well, you've heard it said that desperate times call for desperate measures. Well, this homeowner was simply tired of feeling imprisoned on his own land.
Okay. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to do this.
The last time Jim Newell rode a zip line, he says he was in basic training.
This is something that I don't do, is ladders.
Today, he's not trying one out for fun.
Hey, Dan, whenever you're ready, bud. I'm hanging on.
He's doing it out of necessity.
No, I'm not nervous. Just apprehensive.
Newell lives off Moon Gulch Road. Yesterday, rushing water from the swollen Moon Creek caused a culvert under his driveway to sink. The roadway buckled.
I'm getting ready.
Go!
Oh, crap.
Unlike his children, Jim can't get across this way because of back and hip injuries. Jim's son, Daniel, says he got an idea from watching rescues on television.
When I noticed it started collapsing, I'm like, we're going to need to find another way to get people across the creek. So I'm like, why not do a zip line?
Hold on. Whoa. I was hung up on the rope.
Slowly, Jim pulled himself along in agony and pain.
Get me on over the hard ground. Oh. A little more. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Jim plans to use the zip line mainly for his family to send food across.
Good job!
Next time you guys can pull me across.
He just needed to have a peace of mind that he could use it. How much do you trust this system here?
Well, enough in an emergency to use it.
That is creativity at its best. Now, Jim says he's now trying to figure out how to get that driveway fixed. Reporting live with Othello Richards, KREM 2 News.
Homeowners in one Spokane South Hill neighborhood are relieved tonight after the capture of two really aggressive pit bulls.
Now, these dogs have reportedly been on the loose, terrorizing people and their pets. And KREM 2's Othello Richards was there today. The cameras were rolling when these pit bulls lunged at another man.
Well, one of the homeowners says that he was attacked last night. He called to tell us about it. This afternoon, about the same time we showed up to talk to him, so did the pit bulls.
Attacking people! Get back, they've been attacking people!
We tried to warn this man from inside our news vehicle. He wanted to get two loose pit bulls away from his property. He asked if we called the county shelter.
Cops is coming.
I've called them!
We called, and so did several other neighbors earlier, including Mike Comerford. Comerford tells us last night, while on a walk, one of the two pit bulls lunged and bit his golden retriever, Molly.
Screaming and swearing at the top of my lungs for help. Whose damn dog is this?
Comerford took Molly inside their home. She had bite wounds to her chest area. He called Scraps, followed the dogs for an hour in his car before losing sight of them. This afternoon, Comerford let Molly outside to go to the bathroom. The pit bulls came back.
We're coming from right here. I just go, oh my God. God, Molly, come on, come on. And the dogs are just nipping at her, nipping. And I'm just, God. I got her in the door.
But not before the dogs bit her backside. Neighbors tell us afterwards the pit bulls went after a postal delivery worker.
They were just going at his feet and just barking and aggression and everything. And he was kicking as good as he can, and then they just come right back at him.
About that time, we showed up and started following the pit bulls around the neighborhood, up and down 55th, hanging out in yards, at a construction site. We directed animal control officers to them. After about a half an hour of working to gain the dog's trust, Scraps captured them.
Extreme relief. Extreme relief.
Mike Comerford's dog, Molly, had surgery this evening. We're told no humans were hurt. Now, those pit bulls did not have any tags. Scraps would like to know who owns them. Reporting live with Othello Richards, KREM 2 News.
For most of us, Columbine is an historical tragedy.
I remember the day clearly.
For Spokane State Representative Kevin Parker and his aide Ben Oakley,
And I can still picture what I was wearing that day.
that historic day is personal.
Pipe bombs begin to go off in one section of the cafeteria.
Get out of here, run.
I remember when I was under the table in the cafeteria. I remember just thinking, I didn't know if I'd ever see my wife again. I didn't know if I'd ever have a Christmas. It caused me to question and to ask questions. What do I want to do with my life? We believe kids should be the highest priority in our state budget.
It's no coincidence Parker pursued public service. That day brought into focus the importance of leadership. After all, the people he remembers most are not the gunmen, but the guardians.
As the shooting was starting, and as kids were running for their lives, and teachers were as well, I saw and heard of wonderful, brilliant moments of leadership, of teachers literally saving a kid's life. And for me, a high school janitor saved my life.
Parker came to believe sometimes people's true gifts emerge from tragedy, which is precisely what happened with Daryl Scott.
Well, my daughter Rachel was the first one to be killed in the Columbine tragedy at Columbine High School.
Daryl's gift was born from the pain of losing his daughter.
And your death will not be in vain.
Today, the inspired father travels the world sharing Rachel's life story in a pro-kindness school program called Rachel's Challenge.
And much of Rachel's Challenge talks about what does it mean, what gifts do you have to give away to your community and within your school, and what does it mean to see value in other people.
Parker and Oakley admire the program that brings students a powerful message about 17-year-old Rachel Scott's compassion and the challenge she left just 1 month before she died.
I have this theory that if one person can go out of their way to show compassion, then it will start a chain reaction of the same. People will never know how far a little kindness can go.
It's a unique approach, tapping into the kindness of kids. The two men who lived through that tragic day hope more Inland Northwest schools adopt Rachel's Challenge. It's a gift to enhance students' lives, given by a girl who lost her own.
This is the message that we are choosing as a community to take forward, which is a message of hope, of take care of one another and be there for one another.
Bullying and teasing is not harmless. It affects students' self-esteem, school attendance, and more. Well, now Centennial Middle School students are making compassion a regular part of their vocabulary. Inside Centennial Middle School, you'll find students willing to tackle a tough subject. And this one goes beyond the books.
Who here has seen a situation where bullies have really impacted someone's life? All of you.
I sat down with a group of students for a candid conversation about bullying.
I've been bullied in 6th grade a lot because I was new to this school. I was the odd pickle in the jar.
You don't get pushed down, you don't get shoved in lockers. They've grown some brains. They know what and when to do it at.
These days it's more that people use cell phones and Twitter or Facebook to put people down.
Bullying is not a bigger problem at Centennial, but students here are committed to making their school simply a nicer place to be. It starts by putting a spotlight on the mean-spirited.
I don't even know these kids, and they would call me some nasty names, a loser. My self-esteem goes down every time I see it.
And a lot of people I know will just go up to random kids and call them bad names.
Sometimes I'll try to throw insults back. I mean, I'm human, I do that.
Centennial students look forward to stopping that cycle. They're embracing Rachel's Challenge, a pro-kindness program known to drastically reduce bullying and increase school attendance. It's based on the writings of Rachel Scott, a 17-year-old who was among those killed in the shootings at Columbine High School. Just weeks before she was killed, she wrote, "I have this theory that if one person can go out of their way to show compassion, then it will start a chain reaction of the same. People will never know how far a little kindness can go." It's a fresh perspective for these students who feel intense pressure from something as simple as appearance.
I walked into the room and they're like, oh my gosh, she's dressed weird.
People are really judged on the way they look. Like, that's the first thing you see is how someone looks. And so if someone doesn't look dressed right or doesn't have a ton of makeup on or doesn't have their hair done up, they can't be your friend.
And that's affected you?
Yeah. To always think I have to look the best all the time.
Today, these students vow to look past negative impressions and focus on the positive.
Even though we have flaws, you should always look to see if the person has good qualities.
You don't know what other people are going through, so
if you do treat others nice, you just get the same back.
A chain reaction of kindness launched with one girl's dream of making the world a kinder place. 12 years after she died, these students are living the compassionate challenges Rachel left behind.
Look for the best in others.
Dream big.
Choose positive influences.
Speak with kindness.
Start your own chain reaction.
We want to thank those students for sharing their thoughts with us. I also want to share an email we got from one Centennial student today. He writes, Rachel's challenge has inspired me and the school is a different place. He says it's fun to go to school because you know that people will be nice to you. If you want to learn more about Rachel's challenge, you can head to KREM.com. I'm Jane McCarthy, KREM 2 News.
Things like this don't happen to me.
Seaman First Class Jerry Ives is honored that after all these decades, he'll see the aftermath, the solemn memories of those long years at war.
And I was on my knees with a magazine. So I told the gunner, I said, you be sure to hit him because I don't want to get hit.
The Navy called him up in April 1943. He battled on board the USS California. Ives had just turned 18 years old. A young age, he says, to see the world at war.
The wounds aren't near as bad. They're there. Some of them are big, some of them are little. But they don't remember.
His daughter Annette is his primary caregiver. At 85 years old, his health is too bad to travel without her. And he says he could use a chauffeur.
I ain't got enough power to push a wheelchair. I got old. In a hurry.
The trip costs $800 for guardians. That's for the hotels, flights, food, and bus transportation. Annette knows Honor Flight can't pay for everything, but hopes the community can lend a helping hand.
I figured if I had 800 friends that gave me $1, there it is.
For now, this unsung hero looks forward to the flight, seeing those monuments built for him and his fellow comrades.
There's a lot of other guys out there just like me. Lots of them. They deserve as much as I get and more.
You got it. Got it.
Once a week, Annette Mars checks on her parents in Davenport. She also checks on their mail. But this time at the post office, the pile is a little larger.
Right in the house to your chair.
Since Jerry's open heart surgery in February, Annette has been his primary caregiver. That's why she needs to travel with him to Washington, D.C. Last Thursday, they asked for your donations. And today, boy, did they receive.
And she said, my guts are strong and wouldn't cry. The next thing, you could have filled this house with water. I just couldn't stand it.
There's countless cards and letters, some from fellow veterans, others from long-lost friends.
And this one?
Yes, McDowell. He delivered fuel to me.
Yep.
And, once in a while we tip a jug, but not too often.
One Ritzville woman gives in honor of her husband. He battled alongside Jerry on the same ship 66 years ago. But he never came home.
In the memory of my husband, Lawrence Coach, who was on the USS California at that time and was killed by a suicide bomber January 6th. I wish to send you this. You and your father have a wonderful time.
Along with warm wishes, the cash and checks kept adding up.
We have one for $50 and $5.
Annette asked for $1 from each of her friends, and those at work collected a bag full.
And that to me was better than a $100 check, just because that's what we said was $1 a piece.
Simply put, they're overwhelmed by the generosity of the community.
People that do these things must have a hell of a heart.
A small gift to this hometown hero, a hero who gave an even bigger gift to his country. At first, doctors didn't think Jerry Ives would be able to go. His health was just too poor. But today, he, along with 25 others, embarked on a whirlwind journey to see the sites built in their honor. 65 years ago, Seaman Jerry Ives battled overseas. He never set foot in Washington, D.C., and last night, he could hardly sleep.
Oh, it was 2 o'clock this morning, and I still couldn't get him to go down.
His wife, Verla, knows he's honored. Now, finally, decades later, he and his fellow comrades will see the solemn reminders of those long years at war.
They taught me a lot of stuff that saved my life, lots of it. Of course, we had to bounce back and save them, too.
I want to see the wall, see if there's some names on there that I can remember.
It was a family affair. Brothers, sons and daughters, and grandkids seeing off their heroes. Organizer Tony LaManna thanks those who've given so much.
This isn't just a hobby. We do this because we love you and admire you so much for what you did.
Right now, the Honor Flight program has $10,000 to its name. It cost them $28,000, though, to take a group of 35 veterans to D.C. Fundraising phenoms like 11-year-old Justin Peterson hand over a little help.
A check for $500 on behalf of the Washington State chapter of Sons of American Legion.
The vets line up, anxiously awaiting what's to come. The pilot personally wheels Jerry down the ramp, and his daughter Annette, his primary caregiver, stands by his side. A Post Falls VFW sent them an old photo to take to D.C.
I just wanted the picture to go with him and then mail it back.
It's these men and women who saw the world at war, and now it's their turn to see the sites built in their honor. As the pilot bids farewell, these vets begin a trip of a lifetime. 200 World War II veterans are still on the waiting list tonight. The program counts on your generosity, and if you'd like to help, just go to KREM.com. In the studio, Danielle Grant, KREM 2 News. Seaman First Class Jerry Ives was a simple man, happy and humble, with a smile a mile wide. It'd been some 65 years since he battled overseas, and finally, weeks ago, he saw the solemn memories of those long years at war.
One of the best things that ever did happen, though, is when he got to go back there to see the memorial on that honor flight. That was the greatest thing that ever happened to him.
Doctors gave Jerry the go-ahead, and your donations helped him and his daughter take this trip of a lifetime. The family says it was the hope of the honor flight that carried him through.
He went, he came back, and then he spent the rest of his time putting this family together.
Jerry went in for surgery 2 days after returning from D.C. The surgery didn't go well, and they knew his season of life was nearing its end.
It was his choice. So we had 9 days of all of our family.
He couldn't take the pain anymore. So he prepared us, and he went on his way.
Friends and family from near and far pay their respects to this man who touched so many lives. And even in his final hours, Jerry was doing what he does best.
He was literally laying on his deathbed, and he was laughing and joking.
He was an ordinary man living an extraordinary life. He was an American hero with a heart full of gold.
He enjoyed life to the very fullest, and he's a good man to be around. He'll be missed.
December in Spokane. Dark, cold, and dangerously icy roads. But none of that bothers Rachel Jayton on her morning run.
I'm training for the 2012 Olympic trials.
here in January.
As of this 8-mile training run, she's 29 days away from trying to make the Olympic team.
For me, actually running is a very spiritual thing. My favorite thing is being outside, the way it makes my body feel, just working hard, breathing hard, the way I feel after. I'm a little brown Santa Claus right now, so it's fun.
And 3 hours after she began her day, she begins again. From marathon athlete to marathon days of delivery. Jayton is part of the UPS team in Spokane that will deliver nearly 34,000 packages a day this holiday season. It's a workout all by itself.
Yeah, so then we got these and probably another 3 or 4. Instead of seeing my physical job as something that might go against my training, I started seeing it as like, this is something that's actually really helping me get stronger.
And it's working for her. For a long-distance runner, Jayton's quest for Olympic possibilities came at a sprinter's speed. Her first marathon ever was just 6 months ago.
Squeaked under my goal, and so I was happy with that, but I knew in running that and how it felt, I knew that I had a faster time in me.
That was San Diego, coming in under 3 hours. Then a short while later, Chicago. She beat her best time by 8 minutes. She set her mind on the Sacramento Marathon, knowing a good race could mean a chance of trying out for the Olympic team. And she did it.
I was exhausted, but absolutely elated. I mean, it was just, an unbelievable feeling, just like a dream come true, something I've thought about since I was a little kid.
On January 14th in Houston, Texas, Jayton will run against nearly 200 women, the best marathoners in the country. To make the Olympic team, she will have to place in the top 3.
Okay, so I'll be back in just a minute.
But considering just over a year ago she was eating fast food 5 times a week and hadn't run in over a decade, Jayton is a miracle marathoner. In an era of high-tech gyms, training facilities, and detailed diets, Jayton keeps it pretty simple. And while she admits her chances of going to the Olympics is pretty small, her support from Spokane is enormous.
I think, honestly, I'm still a little bit in shock. And when it just kind of hits me in waves where I get really excited and giddy and almost tearful because I just can't believe it. But it feels good.
Whether roadside or roadside, the clock is on. And she's just over 3 weeks away from running her biggest race yet. Laura Papetti, KREM 2 News.
Now at 5. The FBI has broken the case of the deadly backpack bomber wide open. Federal officials swarmed the small Stevens County town of Addy this morning, and by this afternoon, the man suspected of planting that bomb was in federal court in Spokane.
KREM 2 News at 5 starts now.
Good evening and thank you for being with us. I'm Randy Shaw. Jane has a night off. After 7 weeks of investigation, the FBI this morning honed in on a prime suspect in Stevens County. A search warrant was executed in a mobile home near 12 Mile Road and Townsend-Sackman Road. That's in the town of Addy. And there they arrested Kevin Harpum, a former member of the U.S. Army and a reported neo-Nazi. Now he's accused of building the deadly bomb. All day long online and on air, we've been all over this story. We have KREM 2 News team coverage for you right now. Katie Udis was at the district courthouse as Harpum made his first court appearance a short time ago. Cole Heath talked to the mayor of Spokane and other top officials about it. First, Danielle Grant has been up in Stevens County all day. She's live with how the arrest came down.
Randy, this arrest was a huge development in the case. Just behind me, you'll notice the actual area, the road that leads up to Kevin Harpum's home is still blocked off at this point. But again, earlier this morning is where those officials made the search warrant. Now that, again, is where the FBI did the search warrant at his home. We're told that the raid went smoothly. No one was hurt. Harpum was arrested outside his home, and authorities say he surrendered peacefully. Law enforcement officials say that it wasn't a tip that led them to the suspect, but rather the forensics on the backpack. Neighbors we talked to say that they woke up to loud noises this morning. They heard they actually went outside. They saw some road crews out there working, but it wasn't just that long after they heard a loud explosion. That's when Kevin Coy, one of the neighbors, stepped outside his front door and saw all the commotion and knew something big was happening.
The vehicles are all nondescript, nobody's wearing anything, and all of a sudden I start seeing Kevlar helmets and night vision scopes and tactical assault rifles and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, whoa, something's going down around here. I don't know what, but apparently it's pretty big.
And a short time later, Coy says that crews hauled away a blue Honda Civic. He believes that car belonged to another one of his neighbors. The back window of that car was completely smashed out. Now, folks that I talked to, those neighbors, they kind of talked to the FBI. They said that they were from Seattle as well as Spokane that were out here earlier this morning that did that raid. Now, coming up in my live report at 6 o'clock, we're going to talk to those neighbors exactly about who Kevin Harpum is and what they have to say about him. Reporting live, Danielle Grant, KREM 2 News.
Well, law enforcement sources say it was forensics on the bomb, not some tip that led them to this suspect. Again, Kevin Harpum was arrested at his mobile home, no resistance. He just appeared in federal district court here in Spokane. KREM 2's Katie Udis was there. She has more on the charges this guy now faces.
Randy, we're on location where the bomb was found, and it's just blocks away from the federal courthouse, and that's where we got our first look at Kevin Harpum this afternoon. Now, cameras are not allowed in the federal courthouse, but we do have this sketch of him. Let me show you the sketch and also describe his demeanor and what he looked like in court today. He was shackled and handcuffed when he came in. He answered yes and no to the judge's questions very simply. He was wearing a gray sweatshirt and blue jeans. He also had light brown hair and a mustache, no visible tattoos. Now, our cameras were the only ones rolling this afternoon when his defense attorney spoke to media outside of the courtroom. He says he's not seeking bail at this time.
The hearing would be set within a couple days, and that's not sufficient time in a case like this to do the kind of investigation I'd like to do. We can always bring a hearing at any time, so to rush it didn't seem to make sense.
He even says he doesn't know much about his client, Kevin Harpum. Harpum's first charge is attempted use of a weapon of mass destruction. A conviction of that crime carries a maximum penalty of life in prison. The second charge is possession of an unregistered explosive device. Now, that is a maximum of 10 years if convicted. The probable cause document is sealed at this point, so even the defense doesn't know much about the government's case against Harpum. Now, the grand jury will meet on the 22nd, and that's when the indictment will take place, if it does take place, and also when the defense will get to look at the probable cause document. And the defense could choose to do a bail hearing at any point. Reporting live, Katie Udis, KREM 2 News.
Now, we reported just a couple of days after the bomb was discovered that a couple of T-shirts were found inside this backpack bomb, and those shirts originated from the town of Chewelah. That's the same area of today's arrest. One T-shirt came from last year's Stevens County Relay for Life. The other from Stage Time Theater School's production of Treasure Island. The FBI had been following those clues closely. Organizers for Stage Time Theater told us the FBI did several interviews up there with them. Now, from the start, officials have called the backpack bomb sophisticated. It was placed on a metal bench with a brick wall to one side for maximum force aimed toward the street and the parade route. Officials say that it was possibly made by someone with a military background, maybe a member of a hate group. That also describes the prime suspect now in this case. KREM 2's Othello Richards looked into Kevin Harpum's past. He joined us now live with more.
While researchers at the Southern Poverty Law Center, a small civil rights group, tells us that Kevin Harpum apparently spent time in the military in the mid-90s.
I just heard about it this morning, and I'm just really surprised. Kevin's kind of a quiet kid, and so I was really taken back by it.
Matt Taylor lives across from Kevin Harpum's parents' home in Kettle Falls. The last time Taylor says he saw Kevin was last summer.
He's been down helping his dad out on his farm. His dad had mentioned to me that Kevin was going to take over his farm, and so he was showing him, how to, they grow alfalfa and stuff like that, and he was just down there helping them out.
Taylor says Harpum has ties to the Kettle Falls community that goes far back. This is his 1990 yearbook picture taken during Harpum's sophomore year at Kettle Falls High School. The district superintendent tells us he did not graduate from there, and he does not know from where. What we have learned from researchers at the Southern Poverty Law Center is Harpum was apparently in the military from 1996 to 1997. Records suggest Harpum was part of the 1st Battalion, 37th Field Artillery Regiment at Fort Lewis, Washington. The law firm reported in 2006 that Fort Lewis was one of several military installations with a concentration of secret extremist members. Along the same lines, the law firm, which tracked the white supremacist movement, says they have record of Harpum being a member of the Neo-National Alliance in 2004. It is not known when Harpum joined or if he is still a member. One local we talked to tell us around that same time, a white supremacist group went around town trying to recruit members. Now, we have also learned that Harpum was a registered voter and he voted in the November general election last year, and as the law states that felons cannot vote, so you can conclude that Harpum is not a felon. Reporting live with fellow Richards, Crim 2 News.
We talked at length with the Southern Poverty Law Center today. They track white supremacist groups, as you heard. And tonight on Crim 2 News at 6 o'clock, you're going to hear their detailed information about this group called the National Alliance and how it's linked to the Aryan nations. You're also going to hear about the staggering list of violent acts involving this group, the National Alliance. Spokane police officers were, of course, instrumental in finding that bomb before it went off and rerouting the Martin Luther King Jr. parade. They also played a key role in cooperating with the FBI during all this investigation. We had a chance to talk with Police Chief Ann Kirkpatrick in Seattle today about the arrest.
Historically, we have had some white supremacy history in that region. And as far as concerns, it's certainly not reflective of Spokane and Spokane City. So even when this event occurred, it was absolutely an offense to the community of Spokane. This is not reflective of who we are. We indeed embrace diversity.
The backpack bomb has grabbed the attention of the nation for 2 months now. During a news conference today, right along the U.S.-Mexico border, the U.S. Attorney, Eric Holder, asked about the apprehension of Kevin Harpum.
An arrest has been made in connection with the attempt to place a bomb at the Martin Luther King Day parade in Spokane. It was a viable device. It was planted with the aim of injuring or killing people, and we were fortunate that it did not go off and that people were in fact not killed. We were just lucky in that regard.
That was U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder. Now, it's been 7 weeks since the powerful backpack bomb was found along the Martin Luther King parade route. Sten Wallstrom has a look at the investigation since that point.
It was January 17th, downtown Spokane, about 40 minutes before a parade to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was going to begin. 3 city sanitation workers found and reported a suspicious backpack left on a metal bench along the parade route. The FBI said without the 3 men taking action, it could have been catastrophic, and later called the men unsung heroes. The bomb was defused and sent to FBI headquarters in Quantico, Virginia. After initial analysis, a person familiar with the investigation called it unusually sophisticated with a remote detonator and the most potentially destructive he had ever seen. Spokane County Sheriff Ozzie Knezovich later said the bomb also contained a chemical mixed with shrapnel, later said to be lead pellets coated with rat poison. In addition to the bomb in that backpack were 2 T-shirts with ties to Stevens County, where we saw the arrest this morning. Sten Wallstrom, Crim 2 News.
We first learned about today's huge arrest thanks to viewers who called the Crim 2 newsroom. From there, of course, we went to work to confirm everything that was going on. Any time you see news break, we hope you'll let us know. You can email us as well, or even just post a comment on our Facebook wall. We're still working on many angles of this developing story tonight. Our news crew is still on the scene up in Stevens County. Plus, we're going to hear from Spokane's mayor about developments in the case. Don't go away. After 7 weeks of investigation, forensic evidence has led to an arrest in the backpack bomb investigation. 36-year-old Kevin Harpum appeared in court late this afternoon to face charges. In fact, he could face life in prison for building a weapon of mass destruction. That arrest is bringing some relief to the local community and, of course, local law enforcement. A sense of relief also being felt at Spokane City Hall following this arrest. The mayor of Spokane sat down with Crim 2's Cole Heath about all of this. He's live from downtown Spokane with the mayor's reaction.
Well, Mayor Mary Verner tells me that today's breakthrough is enormous progress compared to where we were about 2 months ago when those workers found the undetonated backpack bomb and reported it, potentially avoiding a deadly event.
We've been worried about this event, of course, since January 17th. Our utmost priority has been the safety of our community. And to have this breakthrough relatively quickly, it's enormous. It really reflects the professionalism and cooperation of our law enforcement community. What I think will be alarming is when ultimately the individual's motives emerge. Our community is so strong, and we feel safe in our community, as we should. So to me, what will be most revealing is, why did this person do this?
Mayor Verner tells me the biggest testimony of the resilience of the community was the turnout at the Eastern Washington University Football Victory Parade, which traveled along the same route only a few days after the attempted attack. And another breakthrough, as a testament to the resilience of the community, is the fact that they're expecting an even larger turnout to next year's Martin Luther King Day Jr. Parade. Reporting live, Cole Heath, KREM 2 News.
Coming up next is the investigation in the small town of Addy goes on tonight. We have more reaction from those in Spokane who felt they may have been targets of this backpack bomb.
Tonight, a closer look at those private investors who are running up the price of oil and scoring easy bucks at the gas pump. That story and more only on the CBS Evening News.
You're watching KREM 2 News at 5.
All we heard was that this was the most sophisticated bomb or device that they have seen, and there was rat poison, so there was a lot of speculation.
Reverend Happy Watkins spoke to us earlier today. Watkins is well known in the community for reciting Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech every year. This year, plans for the Martin Luther King parade were, of course, disrupted by this bomb. The bomb itself was across the street from Auntie's bookstore. KREM 2's Tova Tupper joined us now live with a look at what employees at the store had to say about today's arrest.
The manager at Annie's bookstore says when she found out about the arrest, her first thought was, I hope this is the right person and this will soon be over. Someone called the store to let them know about the arrest. The staff quickly logged onto the internet to get more details. After it sunk in for a few minutes, the manager says the arrest is also a relief. She says the last 2 months have paid a toll on the staff at the bookstore. One employee even quit. The manager says that employee just did not feel safe working so close to where the bomb was found.
We don't know if the person's been coming into the store, if they're going to revisit the site. And so for us, it's just kind of a peace of mind that this person isn't out there. They're not going to come back. They're not going to do something else.
A few weeks after the bomb was discovered, Annie's bookstore found a racist pamphlet hidden inside a book. The manager cannot remember if the pamphlet is affiliated with the National Alliance, which is a neo-Nazi group Harfin was a member of. And employees at the bookstore say they feel safer heading into the upcoming St. Patrick's Day parade. It's an event they all look forward to every year, and says this arrest gives them more reason to be excited for it. Reporting live, Tova Tupper, KREM 2 News.
We're still in Stevens County as this investigation unfolds tonight. Taking a look now at a scene in the small town of Addy, Washington. We have much more to come tonight on KREM 2 News. We'll be right back.
And now, the KREM 2 News Storm Tracker 2 forecast with Tom Cherry.
Pretty traditional March day today.
Gosh, it just keeps on with the same type of weather, you know. Folks thinking about getting their garden going, maybe want to start planting the seeds, not in the ground, but like in the house or your greenhouse. Maybe this weekend might be a good time to do that. Talking about it, keeping you about 8 weeks before you put the seeds in the ground, meaning you transplant it into the ground is when you get it started. That's what the Sherry House will be doing this weekend and into next week. And you can see still some snow covering the hills of the higher elevations, but it's been mostly rain elsewhere. Doppler radar showing a lot of rain down to the south of us, in between Spokane and Colfax and Moscow. Some very heavy rain now, just beginning to move into the Pullman area, the Colfax area, where you see that shade of yellow right there. Then snow occurring up to the north of us, up along the Canadian border. So again, and then lots of snow and rain, kind of a mixture throughout the Silver Valley. Let's talk about it, though, as far as temperatures are concerned. 48, so it really has warmed up quite a bit. Downtown's at 48. Ephrata is at 56 degrees, 58 in the Tri-Cities. Scattered rain and snow showers this evening. The snow would be in the higher elevations with temperatures in the 30s. We'll look for an overnight low of 36, so it stays well above freezing. So not anticipating any snow for us overnight, just rain. And I do think we're going to get a lot of rain overnight and into your Thursday. 48 the expected high. Most of the showers will be in the morning hours, then tapering off by the afternoon, late afternoon. Here's a look at the forecasted highs and lows around the region with lots of rain getting into the upper 50s in Moses Lake tomorrow, 57. We'll see 55 in the Tri-Cities, 53 in Yakima, 52 in Wenatchee. So obviously much more mild air now moving in, but it's wet air mass. Mid-40s in Coeur d'Alene, almost 50 in Spokane with a high of 49. We'll see 48 in Kalispell, 51 in Libby, and should see temperatures hit 42 in Bonners Ferry. Boy, they're just lined up. One of them missed us, moved up into British Columbia. Check the next weather system right there. That's the one that's rolling in overnight and tomorrow, and you can see it moving in from the southwest, so it's warmer. So 48 tomorrow, 43 on Friday, 45 on Saturday. Things are shaping up a little bit on Saturday. Of course, the St. Patrick's Day Parade at noon in downtown Spokane. Now it appears maybe the rain might hold off until late in the day. So maybe after the parade. And don't forget Saturday night when you go to bed to set your clocks ahead 1 hour. Then we'll look for a few more showers to start the first part of next week.
Rain in 40s, huh?
That's March weather.
We're still covering more of this developing story for you tonight on the arrest in this bomb case. We'll have more right after the break. If you're just joining us, an arrest has been made in the backpack bomb case. FBI officials swarmed over a rural area in the small town of Addy early this morning up in Stevens County. Search warrant was executed there at a mobile home. They arrested a former member of the U.S. Army and a reported neo-Nazi. He's been identified as 36-year-old Kevin Harpum. He's accused of building that deadly bomb and planting it in downtown Spokane. Law enforcement source says it was forensics not on the bomb, not tips, that led them to this prime suspect. Harpum appeared in federal court this afternoon. He was charged with use of a weapon of mass destruction and possession of an unregistered explosive device. He faces life in prison if he is convicted. And we have several news stories for you on the arrest of this backpack bomb case tonight on Krempton News at 6. We're going to take you into the history of the neo-Nazi group that Harpum has ties to. It's called the National Alliance. And you're going to hear from the people who live in the town of Addy about their neighbor being arrested in this case. And you'll hear reaction from the arrest of local officials downtown and the NAACP who helped organize the MLK March. And we have time now for a look at the weather.
Yeah, it looks like we've got more wet weather on the way overnight and into tomorrow, but temperatures are going to stay above freezing, so I think it's mostly just rain. And then we'll look for maybe a little more rain developing late Saturday and into the first part of Sunday. Maybe dry for the parade, another parade downtown.
All right. That'll do it for us tonight. Thanks for being with us. See you later tonight on Krempton News at 6.